During fight week here in Jakarta, Igor Spirit has seemed very loose and relaxed. That man, Luis Sapo Santos, has seemed very tight. We'll see if that means anything at all in this main event.
Santos does look a bit more friendly, a little bit more relaxed here tonight than we've seen him all week. And Igor Spirit is just elated to be at this main event.
This fight is presented by MNC Play.
Immediately, Santos opens with one of those big left kicks.
Green trunks for Spirit, black trunks for Santos. Luis Sapo Santos trying to cut off the cage. See already Spirit, the lateral movement on his bike.
He's good, he's moving to the left there, trying to avoid that big left heated kick that Sapo throws.
Jump knee, counter on the 1-2, right back from Spirit.
Every time one of those massive legs is thrown around, the crowd erupts in anticipation of another highlight reel.
The hand clap from Santos, trying to disrupt the rhythm of Spirit. I have never seen that before in MMA.
That's a first for me too. I've seen a little bit something like that in Thailand in Muay Thai fights.
I literally go back to bout number 1 in mixed martial arts, and that's a first.
My little sister used to try to slap my ears like that when we were little, but other than that, I've never seen anything like it. But it does disrupt things. You got to do things that are going to, distract your opponent and pull him away from his game plan.
You see the contrast in stances. Santos, that very wide traditional Muay Thai base, heavy on the front foot, dragging the back foot. You see Spirit, much lighter, continually circling to his left.
And that's a smart decision. Any one of these strikes could be a fight-ending utilization. There's that clap again.
I've now seen it twice. Santos is doing that to play mind games with Igor Spirit. He's trying to disrupt his rhythm.
Igor's smart. He's moving away from the power of Santos. The crowd doesn't really like it, but, you got to fight smart at this level.
Yuji Shimada telling both fighters to engage. That's why he stopped. It had nothing to do with the hand claps. It's unorthodox, it's unconventional, it's not seen, but it is legal.
Rich Franklin, we heard the warning from Yuji Shimada. Is this going to come into play at any point here?
Well, I'll tell you, if this continues, what Yuji could do and possibly will do is, because he called for action again there, is award probably both of these fighters a yellow card, which will result in a deduction, a 10% deduction from their purses.
2 minutes left. Come on, let's go.
Hands very high from Santos.
We've got 3 minutes of circling so far, and that's really all the action that we've seen is lots of footwork. But what Spirit's doing is he's moving away from the power of Santos by circling to the opposite side of that lead power.
You can hear the disquiet from this Jakarta crowd. They want to see these two fighters engage in striking, and again, call for action from Shimada.
I'm getting kind of dizzy, Sean, watching these guys run around like this. But at any moment, the fight could be ended, so you gotta be patient, you gotta be calm. Uh-oh, here it is.
Yellow card to both. Santos pleading his case. The argument from Luis Santos is that I'm trying to engage coming forward. It's Spirit who's disrupting my rhythm by circling out. Shimada would counter, but Santos is not stepping into the pocket, so a yellow card to both fighters after that verbal warning.
Spirit's looking for that gap to be closed. He's trying to measure his distance, but he knows if he rushes in, one of those battering ram type knees are going to be thrown at his midsection. So he has to be very careful. People might not understand the mind games that are going on right now, because Sapo's going to start to get frustrated. He might make a mistake and leave himself open.
Front kick to the thigh. A lot of fighters dislike that. It is perfectly legal.
And if Spirit can pull Santos out of his game and start to make him frustrated, he opens himself up to a possible mistake.
25 seconds remaining, round number 1.
You know, the crowd is voicing their displeasure of this, slow-moving fight, but there's another leg kick. Rich, do you think the yellow card was justified at this point?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm writing the punch stats down here like everything I've seen, and in this first round, I think I've seen a total of maybe 6 strikes landed, so for sure.
It's definitely a lackluster, action-less-filled first round, but we still got 2 more rounds, Sean. I think there's a lot more action that we're going to see from these 2 titans here in Jakarta.
More action, okay?
More action from Yuji Shimada.
Okay?
Definitely not what we anticipated in this highly hyped welterweight battle. The mind games, from the circling to the clapping, it's not been what we expected for this middleweight contest.
Santos trying to close the distance. Couldn't get that head kick through. Can you see Igor Spirit circling to his left? What he did virtually all of round number 1. Again, there's the clap.
Instead of the clap, I'd like to see him start throwing that push kick again, maybe throw in the jab. We haven't seen really Santos throw any punches. This crowd is just waiting for these guys to engage.
Now Spirit steps forward and then steps back on his bicycle, again circling to his left. More action again is the call from Shimada. 55 seconds already gone, round number 2.
Spirit looks confused. He looks like he doesn't know how to engage the fight. Is a red card a possibility, Rich?
I don't think a red card is a possibility. Another yellow card would be a possibility, but if you red card somebody, that's basically a disqualification and the fight stops. So, not for something like this.
There's the great term in officiating, Rich, and it's timidity. And a referee can argue for the end of a fight based on timidity.
Actually, Sean, I've been in this situation. My first kickboxing fight, I froze. I didn't know how to handle the pressure. And it looks like Igor is kind of in the same situation. He doesn't know how to fully handle this or even engage in any sort of strikes. There's another tentative jab. Now they're starting to take the middle. I think we might start to see a little bit of action here, Sean.
Santos is trying to dictate the movement of this fight. He is throwing more, but what he is not doing is stepping into the pocket. He's wary of the counter-punching power of Igor Spirit. Spirit misses, but did throw 2 punches. The crowd yelling in English, fight, fight.
I share those sentiments. I want to see these 2 guys explode onto each other, but they're just very tentative. And now we're approaching the halfway mark of round 2.
Rear kick did not get through from Santos. Spirit stepping forward with the jab into the center of the cage. See how high the right hand is for Igor Spirit.
See, but now Spirit's starting to circle from the center of the cage. Another yellow card. I've never seen 2 yellow cards.
Unlike in football, soccer, 2 yellows does not equal a red.
So they've both gotten a yellow card at the beginning in round 1, and now Igor has been issued a second yellow card. So that's 2 10% deductions for Spirit?
Yeah, he's issued a second yellow card. He'll get a 10% deduction for each yellow card. Now, when you're deducted that percentage of your purse, it goes to your opponent. So I'm not quite sure, scratching my head here, how it works when they were both deducted 10% at the beginning.
I wonder if that first 10% deduction, both those are going to go to Rich Franklin.
Hey, you know what? I wouldn't argue with that.
Getting through. Yuji Shimada clearly losing patience with both fighters, but more so with Igor Spirit.
Santos is trying to engage. He's trying to throw some kicks, but even he's not being that aggressive, Sean. He's not putting any punches behind those kicks. He's just throwing one-shot kick strikes.
And now you see it's Luis Sapo Santos who's circling out to his left. And it's Spirit now holding the center of the One Championship cage.
Santos is circling to the power hand of Igor Spirit, which is a little bit weird. he must not have a lot of respect for the power of Igor Svirid, because Igor's not throwing anything, so there's nothing to be scared of.
This is the loudest that this crowd has been all night, but not through excitement.
For a lack of action, Sean.
It's to try to spur on these two devastating strikers, devastating fighters, who both look quite tentative thus far as we're in minute number 10 of this fight. Our main event scheduled for 3 5-minute rounds in the welterweight division.
Normally the hardest decisions for our judges are when fights are so close. This fight's pretty close, but it's not really filled with anything, so it makes the judges' decision very simple. It'll be, interesting to hear from Rich how he has it scored, because the only thing Santos is landing is a couple of leg kicks. I don't think Svirid's thrown any kind of strikes. I mean, except for a couple of punches that have missed the mark completely.
Good low kick.
That's a damaging low kick. That's a damaging low kick. That took the base out of Svirid.
It's the end of round number 2.
Let's go, let's go. Fight! 3 rounds, yeah.
Final round here as we approach the last 5 minutes of this highly anticipated fight. Now Igor's starting to push forward a little bit. We've never seen the Lionheart in a boring fight. I can't imagine we're going to start now.
Again, that front kick just above the lead leg knee. Twice now, Sapo Santos has thrown that and landed on Svirid, and Svirid has walked through it.
Yeah.
But we've always seen Santos in very entertaining fights when fighters push the action towards him. Maybe somebody's hurt, maybe has an injury somewhere that we're not quite sure about. But this is not what we expected for both fighters. Me and you've been talking about this fight all week. Who would have predicted this?
Now Svirid trying to turn up the tempo, and Santos changes level, hits the takedown. Close guard for Igor Svirid.
You can see some of the welts on the left leg of Igor from just one of those kicks unleashed by Santos.
Both fighters have very impressive grappling credentials. As we talked as they were walking in, both fighters dismissive of each other's ground skills. Santos now has the ability to show his Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt pedigree in the closed guard of Igor Svirid. But he's thinking ground and pound over submission and position right now.
This fight could be decided on what both these fighters didn't think would be an aspect of the fight that would even go to it.
Start from Santos, scooping the head. It's a half can opener and then landing with the elbow strikes. Literally pulling Svirid into the elbows is Santos.
That's some brutal ground and pound.
Big elbows.
This is definitely the most action of the fight. And it's definitely pushing the favor over to side. Yeah, you see the welts developing on Svirid's legs from just a couple of those brutal leg kicks thrown by Santos.
Svirid looking for a Kimura, posturing onto his hip.
Yeah, it's going to be a hard time submitting a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt with a closed guard Kimura.
Santos pulling his arm free and then punching Svirid in the face. Big elbow there.
Got to get back up to his feet. He's got to open his guard, push away, because he's getting eaten up by some of this ground and pound.
You see a huge mouse has now formed under the left eye of Igor Svirid, and that's courtesy of those right elbows from Luis Sapo Santos. 2 minutes, 30 seconds remaining in this third and final round.
Passes the guard, now inside control. Attempts the mount, but has a little good defense by Svirid.
And Svirid is cut, blood all over his face. More big, short, sharp elbows from Luis Santos. They're short, but they are brutal.
Definitely dominated with the ground and pound here. He's got to make sure he doesn't give up his back.
Rich, if there was any doubt on your scorecard, there's no doubt right now.
No, definitely. I'm beginning to wonder if the drop in weight class for Igor is making a difference here on the ground, because Luis is just muscling him around right now.
He definitely looks a lot smaller now that he's made the transition.
Santos looking rear naked choke to finish. You see the hand fighting from Svirid, but that is under the chin. That is tight. Both hooks in, slipping but over in the full mount. I believe the blood on the face of Svirid actually caused Santos to lose the choke. Full back mount now for Sapo Santos. Out the back door for Spirit. Santos steps over. Both fighters back to their feet. 70 seconds remaining in this third and final round. The volume has been turned up. And now time called by Yuji Shimada. This is going to be to assess the blood, the cut on the face of Igor Svirit.
Rich, how do you have this fight breaking down so far? What did that last couple minutes do for you?
Well, you have the takedown. We had a couple leg kicks prior to the takedown. Then you had the takedown. There was a couple of nice elbows from the guard there that caused the contusion below the left eye, I believe, of Igor. And then he just continued to improve position, to sign out, ground and pound, more elbows. Obviously, in this last 5 minutes, Santos is beginning to run away with the fight.
You see the blood all over the face of Luis Sapo Santos. It's just been cleaned off. But that is Svirit's blood. Santos is not cut.
Referees are taking a close look. We got the doctor in there taking a look at the cut, which seems to be over the bridge of the nose.
It's the outside of the left eye and also the smaller cut on the bridge of the nose. As you see the left eye of Svirit cut on the outside and that mouse under the left eye, Rich, that you just alluded to. Nice work by Yuji Shimada, always in one championship. Fighter safety first.
I don't know if you call that a mouse. That looks like a New York-sized rat that's growing under his eye. It's just a massive contusion there.
I'll give you line of the night for that.
He's got now Igor senses he's in trouble, starting to unload.
Big shots now from Igor Svirit. His biggest offensive outburst of the night and looking to finish.
This
After
could
virtually
sway
doing
it.
nothing in the attack throughout this fight. Suddenly it's all Igor Svirit. 15th and final minute of this fight, unloading with the hammer fist. Big left hand from Svirit, trying to clear the legs. Santos looking for the up kick, diving into the open guard as Igor Svirit, more hammer fists.
He's turning it on right now, and Santos is kind of weathering the storm to make sure he's not getting too much damage in. He's covering up well. This is what we wanted for 3 rounds. This is what everybody's expected, but at least we're getting it now.
Closed guard of Luis Santos. Full-on ground and pound from a big white base on his knees from Igor Svirit.
Is this enough to get the decision? What a battle in the 3rd round.
It started slow, and it ended with absolute ferocity. Igor Svirit versus Luis Santos goes the full 3 rounds, the full 15 minutes.
You can see the offense there, big takedown as Santos slid under the punches to secure that takedown. And this is where majority of the damage was done to Svirit. Big elbows, those short elbows once he got past the guard. Here's Igor pushing forward, an attempted takedown by Santos. Igor ends up on top, delivering some shots. But it wasn't enough, Rich, to secure the decision.
Yeah, I wouldn't consider that a knockdown at the end, and honestly, I think Sapo was a bit tired. I don't think it was enough at the end, the ground and pound. Santos had too much time on the ground control and the effective ground and pound he did.
Definitely interesting third round
decision. Here we go to Dominic Lau.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 3 rounds of battle, we turn now to the judges' scorecards. And your judges have scored in favor for your winner by unanimous decision from the red corner.